Today we're going to build a control system for my entire desk setup. And as an added bonus, I will be able to control my entire house with the same system as well. So in my last videos, when I changed the color theme of my setup, for you it looks something like this. But behind the scenes, it's a whole different story. Because this is the routine that I have to go through. I have to open the driver for my motherboard and change the color there.
Then comes the driver for the CPU cooler.
Then I have to change the wallpapers for each of the monitors. After that, I have to change it for every device that I have built. And that's how it's going for every video planning.
So now you understand the problem that I have. But I can't have it like this anymore. I want to build a device that I can use to change the color theme with one single press. But I also want precise control over the LED color values. So in the end, I have chosen to build a system around Home Assistant. And the Raspberry Pi would run the Home Assistant OS. For this, I chose the Pi 5 with 4 GB of RAM. On the Home Assistant website, they say that you should have at least 2 GB of RAM. So I will go with 4, and if it's needed, I will upgrade. And for the controller, I will use an ESP32C6 with an LCD screen on it. And then these two devices will communicate with each other through MQTT. So let's start with the ESP32. To start this off, we will solder some pins onto the ESP32 so we can hook it up to the breadboard. And here you don't have a lot of room, so you have to angle it correctly to get access to the pins. When I'm done, I clean it up a bit and then get the breadboard. And this device doesn't have that many components. It just has some buttons, an encoder, LED, and then a level shifter to bump up the voltage for the LEDs. And I always try to do this bit as cleanly as I can so I can easily spot if I have made some mistakes. And I also think that it looks a bit nice. So let's bring in the board and a cable to connect it up to the computer and try out some code. But first we have to get Home Assistant up and running. So I get the Pi and a micro SD card to flash the OS on. I run the Raspberry Pi imager and locate the Home Assistant OS. I start the flashing and then wait. And when it's done, I connect it and a Zigbee dongle to the Pi. And then using the Ethernet port, I can connect it up to my router and then access it from my browser by the Pi's local IP address and the Home Assistant port. And I'm so hyped up about this. I have wanted Home Assistant for so long. But to be able to receive the messages from the ESP, we have to download some add-ons on Home Assistant. And the first add-on is called Mosquito Broker, which is an MQTT broker and will send and receive MQTT messages. And to do this correctly, each device that we have made on this channel will have to have its own user with a username and a password. And then we connect it up to Home Assistant. And then by some code and using the dedicated username and password for the device, we see the ESP pop up here. So we start off small and send a message whenever a button is pressed. And we see that the messages are received. Then I added RGB control and encoder sensing with interrupt service routine. And I also tried out to send the color value through MQTT messages. And with some trial and error, this worked nicely as well. Then I create and find some images and fonts to use for the screen. And I use GIMP to touch them up a little bit. And no, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just go with my gut and change some things. And when it's done, I turn everything into LVGL files so that they can be used by the ESP. I start off by only rendering the frame and then the image. After that, I match the frame and icon color with the LED color. And when it starts to look adequate, I can move on. And here I needed to buy some stuff. And maybe you're thinking that this is quite an overkill for such a simple device, but this is a device that I will use all day, every day. So I think it should feel nice. So an encoder, a power supply for the Pi that can give 25 watts, and then some keys and keycaps that will probably be used by other projects as well. I put all the components down on the table and try to ideate on some design. And when I have made up my mind, I can move on. I recreate the keycaps on CAD, and the keys themselves, they're so complex, so I just pray that they are on GrabCAD. And they were. They were another brand, but I think they're the standard here. But to be sure, I just measure it up. I go over to KiCad to start making the PCB design. And even here, the key footprints were available. I hadn't worked with these before, so I wasn't expecting anything, but it was a pleasant surprise. I move on and connect all the footprints that exist, export the step file and import it to CAD. And now I can use that model to design the enclosure around it. and notice that the device has 7 buttons, and I still haven't decided what to do with every single one. So if you have any ideas on automations or anything, just put it in the comment section. And to go back to the enclosure design, I decided to go with a snap fit on this enclosure, which will hopefully work fine and reduce the amount of components that are needed for this device. So I load them up to the slicer, and then I can move on to 3D printing. And while the 3D printer is doing its thing, we move on to connect everything to Home Assistant. And I mean everything. The wallpaper on my desktop, the RGB lights on my computer, and all the devices we have made on this channel. So we start with the most simple device, the LED strip. Until today I used my iPad to control this light with some app called TP-Link or Topo. And this was supported by Home Assistant, so I just added it to my devices. And then there was light. I could at last control these LEDs with Home Assistant. And let me tell you, it's a simple thing, but it was so exciting to see. And then the Apple TV also popped up, so I added it to my devices just to be able to mess with my girlfriend when she's watching her TV show. But let's get back on track because the next steps are so cool. Because now we're going to control the computer RGBs. And initially I was going to go with OpenRGB and control it via the OpenRGB SDK servers, but it did have some difficulty detecting all the devices because I had installed the vendor drivers before. And even though I deleted them, it still had some issues. So instead I went with Signal RGB, and this one detected all the devices directly. And I also saw that someone had already made an add-on for Home Assistant, so this was perfect. But the only problem was to have local API working, you had to have the Pro version. And although I didn't like this at all, I just paid for it. And I thought if it doesn't work, I will just cancel my subscription, because it is a subscription. But after that, I added it to Home Assistant through an add-on called Hacks, which is an add-on for third-party apps. Then I connected it up to my GitHub account, and then I could download the GitHub repo made by HyperBliss. And after all that, we were now in control, and the only thing left now with the computer was wallpaper. And I'm using Wallpaper Engine, and I went on the internet and found that they do have some command line control. And the best way to use it for me was to have some preset profiles for both the monitors. So I made 4 profiles for 4 different color themes: magenta, blue, green, and red, which I didn't show. And now I can just open the terminal, run the commands, and bam, we have command line control. And because Home Assistant can't run commands on my computer, I have to make a server that receives the HTTP post sent by a Home Assistant and then runs the command. And in this way we can have the program run in the background. Now on Home Assistant we can just download a file editor and then write some code and add a helper, and just like that we have control over the wallpaper as well. How cool is that? And just to get a quick taste, I made a dashboard that controls everything we made so far, and it looks pretty promising. And the last adjustment we have to do to make everything work is to open up the old devices that we have made in this channel and reprogram them so that they work with Home Assistant. And I won't go through everything, but I can just say that I added a MQTT receiver that just changes the LED colors depending on what messages it gets from Home Assistant. Now that that's done, let's start with the manufacturing of the controller. And just like the last time, I will go with a 3D printed circuit board. And I am making it this way so that I can later change it out to a professional PCB. So the first thing I try is to see that everything fits as intended on the board, and then I can go on to apply the copper foil. And this time I bought a wider copper foil that will not limit me as much. So I apply it on and press it down until I can see the traces, and now I can start the cutting. And this took me about 40 minutes. And now I can start soldering the components on the board. And I have to emphasize that it's very important to test for shorts, because although this method is great for those who only have an FDM 3D printer, the possibilities for shorts is real. So now we put on the keycaps, get the 3D printed enclosure, and start the assembling process, which is basically 4 steps. Put the board in the lower part, then we put the diffuser in the lid, followed by this. Nice. And then we can put on the lid and the knob. And although it looks pretty nice, but what I love is how it feels when you press the keys. And man, I don't think I can go back to those regular tactile switches, unless there's limited space. So let's try this board out. please do ignore the horrendous cable. I didn't have anything else. Let's try the buttons only on this device. And it works nicely. And what is left is to try everything together. So I turn on all the devices and then I go on to mess everything up quickly. But then comes the moment of truth. Will this actually work? And it works so nicely. It is such a nice device to have and it's so practical. I have used this every day since it was finished. And from now on, I will make all the devices smart and connected to the system. And regarding other functions for the controller and the Home Assistant system, I would very much like you to comment some ideas on what I should do with it next. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. See you in the next one.